I am here on page 660, and you could open your book to that so then we can run through some of this. I'm going to show you how to do every part and show you how it works and what to do. It talks in number 18, 19, and 20. It says, find the values for the three trigonometric ratios for angle B. So that's this angle right here for this one. You don't know this over here. But you can figure that out because there's the hypotenuse over there, opposite of the right angle. So I can do 17 squared minus 8 squared, and that will give me 15 for this. So Pythagorean theorem gives you that. Now I've got all three sides. Now I can do those ratios. So first you want to remember that. All right. So if I'm doing the sine, that would be, let's see, opposite over hypotenuse. So angle B, the opposite is down here. That's 15 over 17. The cosine is adjacent. That's the one right next to it, but not the hypotenuse. So that's 8 over 17. And then tangent, opposite over adjacent, that's 15 over 8. That's how you do all of those. You need to find that third side first, and then figure out where angle B is and what they're asking you to do. Hopefully that'll be good. We're going to move. Oh, and then the next section in your book, if you look at 21 to 28, that's just a calculator thing. It says, like for number 23, it says cosine of 44. So you tap the cosine button, you type in 44, and it gives you 0.7193 or 0.72. That's your answer. Okay, we'll pause and I'll go down to everything you need to do in 29 to 34. If you look down there. Now the directions in these talk about solving the triangle. You got to fill in all the sides and all of the angles. Well, the angle should be easy because they give you an angle for these. So I do 90 minus 47. Okay, so that means this is 43. All right, and again, SOHCAHTOA. All right, and then now I got to decide how to get these other two sides. So I'm going to do the hard one first because I remember that on the diagram I gave you in your Google Classroom, it says, hey, I need a side. So if I need a side, I'm using the regular sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay, so I'm ready with those buttons on the calculator. Everything's ready to go. So for this angle here, I have the opposite. I do not have the hypotenuse up here, and I do not have this one, which would be the adjacent. Because opposite's over here, hypotenuse is across from the right angle. So opposite, okay, opposite. I've got two choices. Well, I'm going to do sine. I'm going to do the sine of 47 equals the opposite, 16, over the hypotenuse, which is x. I don't know what it is, so I'm going to have to use x. The part that's not nice here is you have x on the bottom. I would get rid of that right away, multiply both sides by x, because these cancel out, and I have 16 equals x times the sine of 47. So if I, on my calculator, go sine of 47, I get this number of 0.731. Or, well, actually, 0.731. So now I have x times that equals 16. Now, to get rid of this, I just have to divide both sides by 0.731. And that'll tell me what x is. And then I can use that to figure out the other side. So let's see, 16 divided by 0.731, and I get 21.9. So that means x, and I just did the hypotenuse, I believe, sine opposite over hypotenuse. Yep. So that means this hypotenuse is 21.9 or 21.89. Now, I'm almost done because I got a side. I have two sides. Now I can do 21.9 squared minus 16 squared, and I just need to take the square root of that. And right now I know that that's about 15. That's already 16, and that's the one I found out. I have all three angles, and I have all of the sides. That's how you solve the entire triangle. Let's look at another one of those. All right, so this is number 31. And, oh, I forgot a side. We have a side of 7. So, easy part first, 90 minus 14. That's 76. That way I know all the angles. And I have this angle here. That's an adjacent. I kind of like that. I'm going to use, if that's an adjacent one, and I can put that on the bottom, I'm going to use tangent. Because it's adjacent, is right next to the 14. It's not the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is over here. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the tangent of 14, and that equals opposite. The opposite is over here, right here. I don't know that. That's x over the adjacent is 7. The nice thing here is, because x is on top, all I have to do is get the tangent of 14 multiplied by 7. I have basically all I need to make this a lot easier. So tangent 14 is, if you're doing it, 0.25. So I got the 0.25 times 7, and I should get about 1.75. And now you got to remember, when you get a number like that, you got to remember which side it is. Because I did tangent, so that means it's opposite. That means this is 1.75. And so I have a 7 and a 1.75. So now 1.75 squared plus 7 squared, and that gives me about 52. And then I take the square root of that to get this of a 7.22. So I have every angle, I have every side, I am done. So you've got to keep track of that sine, cosine, and tangent, so you know, when you get x, you're like, okay, wait, what is x? And you look back, oh, x is the opposite. It's on top, it's the opposite. That's why I need to do that. And then Pythagorean theorem. Okay? Now we got to look at some of the opposite ones of that, where you have to use the sine, not that really, but you have to use the sine to the -1 or cosine to the -1, stuff like that. Okay, now this is number 37 on page 660, and you notice it says find the measure of angle J. So here's angle J. So this is where on that diagram on Google Classroom it says I need an angle, so we're going to use the inverse functions. So this is the second function on your calculator. So now I have right now from angle J, I have the opposite, and I have, it looks like, and looking where the right angle is, I have the hypotenuse. So let's see. So TOA. And I have, let's see, what did I say? Opposite and hypotenuse. Opposite and hypotenuse is like sine. So now this one, since I'm trying to find the angle, I have to do sine to the -1 of J is opposite 15 over 17. So I'm going to hit that second function, sine to the -1. I'm going to type in 15 divided by 17. I hit enter, and I have an angle amount, 62 or 61.9. So that's it. Kaylin, when you put your stuff down, go open the door and do the doorstop thing, please. Yeah, thanks. That's perfect.